looks in different positions on the floor than we typically would have had with Caitlin with the ball in her hands. I think it gives us an opportunity to really expand. We've been allowing our team to read and play within certain spacing in the system. And now it gives us an opportunity to expand that, get some other primary ball handlers and see what our off ball action looks like. I think defensively, we'll be a little smaller with Sid, certainly, but I think it gives us a little bit more versatility in terms of our ball pressure and our ability to pick up a little bit more in the full court.
How much does the silver lining of this, as great of an IQ as she already has,
Yeah.
being able to sit and see how the team plays without her and where she can then, when she returns, fit into it? How much do you feel like that's going to be a benefit to her as well too?
I think it's a huge opportunity. Oftentimes as players, you're only seeing things from one perspective, and you get a feel for things on the floor, and you get a feel for it at ground level. And then when you're forced to sort of sit back and be on the sideline for a while, there are some things that you can see that you might not have noticed in live action. And so I think it gives Caitlin an opportunity to look at it a little bit more from a coach's perspective. We'll want her to sit closest to our coaches so that she can hear some of the conversations, hear points of emphasis, and see it from a different lens. And I think that's always a good opportunity for players in their ability to grow. And then I think the other piece for our team, oftentimes you see, and of course we do, doing what we do in the television world, that injuries, even though they stink, can often be a blessing in disguise because other players get opportunities to step up. You can continue to build depth and versatility, and oftentimes it pays dividends down the road.
And then the balance that you all have been able to accomplish
Mhm.
very early with as good of a 3 point shooters as you do have, but you've also emphasized the paint attack. How do you find that they've managed to balance, and how do you kind of try to keep that moving as the season goes on, knowing that teams are going to adjust how they're playing you defensively, worrying about both of those?
I think first and foremost, some of that was addressed in free agency because we added great cutters. It's not just pounding the ball in the post to AB. It's not just hitting someone on a pick and roll. It's not just dribble penetration. Our off ball movement, our cutting, even if we don't get the score right off of the cut, it opens up different types of 3 point shots for us. So we really want to be balanced in our attack because teams are going to play us in different ways, and teams are going to challenge us to beat them with twos. And so we have to find the best shot on the floor. We have to allow our offense to work and let the ball find the right person and the right shot. It's not anywhere where it's going to be or where we'd like it to be, but it is a work in progress, and I'm pleased that we have had that balance. I'd like for us to get some more free throws, some easy ones too. I mean, being able to get some opportunities there too.
Yeah, need some more freebies. So focusing on defense, looking at the Mystics team, they're a young team, one of the youngest teams in the league, but they play with so much confidence. I guess, how do you approach the game and plan to contain these young rookies when they're playing with no fear?
Yeah, I mean they're great young talent, and you're right. They have no fear. They play with 100% effort all the time. They're constantly in motion. They're really aggressive. They're playing free, and I think that's a tribute to Sydney and his staff and the players that they have in this system. It's a tough contest because they're so balanced because you're getting production from multiple players on the floor, and they play with multiple levels of effort. And oftentimes those teams can be the scariest. I think they're playing with great confidence. We have a challenge in front of us. We've got to be able to contain the guards. We've got to be able to lock down the paint from an interior standpoint as well. And we got to keep them off the glass.
Stephanie, a lot of people obviously come out to see your team, and they come out to see one player, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of players over the many years you've been in the league where lots of people show up to see one player in a given place, right? Um, and some of those people will come from who knows how far away because this is the only time they're going to see them. And some of them live in the place where that team is, but they'd rather see that one player than their local team. And I'm just curious, for your perspective, what do you think changes that dynamic so that more people are coming to these games to watch their local team like they would in any other sport?
We always talk about in women's basketball, like it just takes getting them there once. and then they'll want to come back. So I don't care what the reason is that people come to watch that first time, because then they fall in love with the product, right? They fall in love with the game. They fall in love with how these women are the best in the world at what they do, how they approach competitive spirit and competitive fire. And there are many reasons why people don't come that first time. But now, whether it's to come to watch a certain player, come to watch a certain team, I guarantee you that these local folks are going to love the Washington Mystics, and they're going to want to come back.
And also, with that being said, we're in Baltimore. A little bit different of a situation just for you all as a whole. But how much do you feel like? I mean, obviously, knowing some of the history of Baltimore with the basketball culture that's here. I mean, how important is it to try to grow the game in places like Baltimore that may not have that WNBA team, but have an opportunity to show how much they support WNBA basketball?
I think it's really important. We've begun to see that in some of our preseason games as well, going into different environments. College towns, some different cities. I love that we do this in the WNBA, because there are a lot of WNBA fans. There are a lot of young people who are coming to their first WNBA game that might not have opportunity to get to the nearest city, that might not have opportunity to get to a WNBA environment that they want to go to. And so I think it's really important to continue to grow the game. We hear it all the time, and we talk about it all the time. Like, if you can see her, you can be her. And I think any opportunity that we get to come into new cities, to gain new fans, and for young girls and boys, but especially young girls, to watch these women do what they do, is important.
You mentioned the fear factor that can be concerning. What else about this young Mystics team, especially with the leadership and this that point of emphasis that Slim and Steph have taken upon themselves, concerns you about this Mystics team being as young as they are?
Well, nothing really concerns me about their age. They're players, man. They know how to play. They know how to play. They play with a high energy level. They're in constant motion. They play really well off of one another. They look like a team that's been together for more than just a few weeks, because of how well they read, because of how aggressive they are. Certainly, yes, Slim and Steph set the tone, but you got players who know how to play on this team, and they don't force anything. They allow the game to come to them. They stay within who they are. Don't try to play outside themselves. And they're incredibly balanced. And having a balanced team makes it a tough cover. Thank you.